This is a presentation on privacy and primarily focused on commercial surveillance. So I think everyone pretty much knows that, like, Google, Google and Facebook and all of these things are tracking everywhere you go and what you do and all of that. And if you're in the writing community, you're aware of, Anthropic, the Anthropic lawsuit or settlement, and all of the concerns about everything being out on the web being scraped for AI. The problem that I'm trying to address is the risks from all of this commercial tech, right? Like all of the apps. I think Google Meet is just as bad, if not worse. As a matter of fact, this morning as I was going to work, there was an email. I think it was 401 Media. It's one of the news outlets, the independent news outlets that I read. They said Apple put out a notice of warning users not to use Chrome, right? Folks in tech generally understand that Chrome is basically spyware, but that not really, but it's very invasive. It gathers everything, and yeah, so Apple put it out, right? Microsoft put out the same thing. Now they obviously have a business incentive to, the browser wars, to try to get you to use their own browsers. But yeah, I think Google Meet, from a browser perspective, if you use things in browser, that's generally safer than installing the apps, right? So that's sort of the sort of the takeaway there, right? So yeah, let's dive in and kind of see what we're talking about. So computers and Internet of Things and everything has gotten really, really ubiquitous around. It's everywhere, and it's really, really hard to escape. But we're going to talk about like what the problem is, why you should care about this. This isn't just for writers. It's just sort of the way that I'm pitching it. It's really for everyone, but hopefully I'll lay out some very specific concerns for writers, and why this is something we should try to do better at, right? Okay, so with any good presentation, we're going to have an agenda. So we'll try to lay out the scope of the problem. It's a massive, massive problem, right? For the last decade that I've been working on this, I get told it's a big problem. Good luck. And it's like, you should just give up because you're not going to win. And I'm like, no, we're going to keep fighting, right? Because why not? And the biggest thing, if you take nothing away from tonight, nothing else away from tonight's discussion, panel and discussion, is really the whole point of this is to try to segment your life, right? The only way to really avoid commercial tech is to move to a hole in the mountains. No tech, no footprints ever. Don't ever go outside, and don't ever use any technology ever again, right? That's pretty much unfeasible for all of us, right? So what can you do to try to push back on the surveillance of everyday life that these companies are sort of demanding access to?